There's something incredibly satisfying about watching numbers go up, whether it's a stock portfolio, follower count, or daily step goal. The upward trajectory triggers something primal in our brains. Numbers offer order in a chaotic world. They give us a sense of progress, a way to measure success, and perhaps, most dangerously, a sense of control. But this numerical obsession became more than just a passive interest for me. It became a daily ritual that quietly influenced my emotions, mindset, and behaviors. When I first began investing, I was enthusiastic. I was learning the ropes, reading annual reports, researching ETFs, and consuming financial content like my life depended on it. I wanted to grow my wealth, sure, but more than that, I wanted to feel like I was making progress. And nothing symbolized progress like the green numbers in my portfolio. Every day, I would check it multiple times, morning, lunch, and before bed. Sometimes even during school or while hanging out with friends. A 2% uptick, I'd feel on top of the world. A 3% drop, I'd spiral into anxiety, questioning my strategy and considering rash changes. And the worst part, I knew better. I knew that checking short-term fluctuations in a long-term portfolio was irrational, but I did it anyways, because deep down I was emotionally tied to these numbers. What I experienced is not unique, it's deeply rooted in psychology. Behavioral economists have long studied how humans interact with money, and one concept stood out to me more than any other: loss aversion. First introduced by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, loss aversion suggests that people feel the pain of losing money twice as strongly as the joy of gaining it. So even a small red day in the market can trigger outsized emotional responses: fear, regret, or even shame. This emotional rollercoaster is compounded by availability bias, where recent data seems more relevant than it actually is, and confirmation bias, where we interpret data to confirm what we already believe in. In short, we aren't wired to be rational investors, we're wired to react. When you constantly check your portfolio, you're feeding the cycle. You're zooming into short-term noise rather than stepping back to see long-term trends. The most insidious part of this addiction is how it links your self-worth to numerical performance. I started noticing that I was more confident and sociable when my portfolio was up. On bad market days, I'll be short-tempered, distracted, and sometimes even withdraw from conversations. It wasn't just numbers on a screen, it felt like a scoreboard for my identity, and it doesn't end with investing. This phenomenon applies across modern life. Through social media, follower counts and likes dominate self-esteem, especially for younger generations. According to a study by the Royal Society for Public Health, social media has been linked to increased anxiety, depression, and sleep issues, mainly due to number-based validation. In workplace metrics, productivity apps, KPIs, and performance dashboards reduce human contribution to digits. Workers chase metrics that may not reflect the full scope of their efforts or creativity. In fitness and health apps, step counts, calorie burned, heart rate zones, helpful when used mindfully, but stressful when they become an obsession. These numbers are meant to help us, but instead they control us. Zooming out, the obsession with growth is baked into our economic system. GDP must grow. Company profits must increase. Quarterly earnings must be expectations. In financial markets, stagnation, even temporary, is seen as failure. This creates an environment where more is always better, more revenue, followers, and returns. But infinite growth isn't always possible or even healthy. Trees don't grow forever, neither do healthy economies, companies, or human beings. And yet, we idolize growth for its own sake. This mentality spills into investing, where people panic if their portfolio is flat for a month, despite being in a solid position. It encourages short-termism, day trading, options gambling, market timing, strategies that feel exciting but often underperform basic long-term investing principles. Here's how I began to realize my relationship with numbers was becoming unhealthy. Compulsive checking. I couldn't go for a few hours without opening my investing apps. Mood dependency. A red market day could ruin my productivity or social interactions. Distractions. I was so caught up in daily returns that I wasn't focused on my real goals: learning, saving consistently, and building a sustainable portfolio. This was avoidance and shame. I'd avoid looking entirely when things went poorly, oscillating between obsession and denial. These are not just quirks, they're symptoms of an unhealthy attachment to performance metrics. So here's how I'm rebalancing, no pun intended. So first, you can set a portfolio check day. I only check my portfolio now once a week, or sometimes even less. It's enough to stay informed without getting consumed. Journal emotions and not returns. I began tracking my feelings about the market and my reactions to change. This helped me notice patterns and detach from overreactions. Actually, I am starting a YouTube video about tracking my mood and how my mood and investment portfolio are related and correlate. Next is focus on the process and not the outcome. Investing is all about the system, saving consistently, diversifying, and thinking for the long term. Only focus on what you can control. Consuming less noise. I unsubscribe from most real-time stock alerts and finance TikToks. I stay informed through curated, thoughtful content that emphasizes education over hype. Use numbers as a tool, not as an identity. I remind myself that my net worth is not my self-worth. It's a metric and nothing more. Numbers can be helpful. They provide feedback. They quantify growth, but they can also motivate us. But they become a trap when they start controlling our moods, decisions, or identity. Investing should be about freedom from financial stress, debt, and worrying about the future. But if you let the pursuit of numerical perfection take over, you're not free. You're just chasing the next tick upwards. Whether it's portfolio returns, follower counts, or productivity dashboards, we live in a world constantly measuring us, but it's worth asking, are these numbers helping us grow or just keeping us distracted? For me, learning to detach from daily portfolio swings was the first step towards a healthier relationship with money and myself. And if you've ever felt that twinge of panic when you see red in your investments or the rush of validation when numbers go up, you're not alone. But there is a way to invest, live, and grow without being owned by the numbers. Thank you for watching, and here are some other videos of mine you may enjoy. Stay curious and hope you learn something new about investing or about yourself. And until next time, bye bye.